We got the moon in Virgo, we got the sun in Cancer. This is the opportunity to start to work on this new comfort zone that we're trying to position ourselves in. And with the sun in its final degrees of Cancer, we're finally coming to that fixed fire. So this is literally the energy that's which, like, we're getting ready to get on stage. We need to put ourselves in the right headspace. And see, the moon in Virgo is going to start to have us react and respond to the things that stress us regarding our material gain. And this could look like your responsibilities as well. So really what's going down is like this energy is creating a certain, like, get up off your ass type energy, you know, making you kind of jolt. And if you do start to feel those vibes of anxiety and things of that nature, it's time to just focus on what it is that needs to be adjusted in order for you to, you know, carry out what you need to carry out in a more efficient way. Take this opportunity for what it is. Don't let this energy still stagnate you or make you procrastinate any longer. What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Dave B. You're watching DaveBeyondTV, where we go beyond the everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis, and we breaking down the transit. So, you know, when we talk about this energy right now, so like right now, it's a lot of things going on. You know, as far as the sun shifting into a new perspective, this is what's happening when it comes to our actions and how we see things. When we're looking outside of ourselves, we kind of want to see ourselves on stage. We want to invest into what we are entertained by. We want to give attention. We want to express ourselves. At least that's what you should be in. That's the space you should be in, just as far as the sun goes. This is what we need to be doing for the next 30 days or 30 degrees, I should say, in Leo season, so that we can get as firm of a grasp on this energy as we need to. You know, everything is a progression. When we talk about astrology, it's all about understanding where the energies are at so that you can participate. Sitting back and not participating, you know, you do what you want to do. You choose how you want to live, but that's not going to help you as far as manifesting things that you need in order to go on to the next level. And life is constant. Life keeps moving. Everything changes. It's inevitable. So you have to know how to get with the program and wake yourself out of any slumber. You know what I'm saying? Slumber relating to, like, say you going through something, right? You in some kind of form of depression. You know, when you get depressed, you put yourself in a very slow time. You know what I'm saying? This is where you are stuck in a certain space and it's hard for you to get out and move forward. Now, you know, we all got to deal with what we got to deal with. We all got to go through what we got to go through, but that's the thing. We got to get through it. You know, life don't wait for no one. The sun goes up and down regardless if you actually participating with the day or not. And by you not participating, you miss out on opportunities to actually change your life and to keep things on track. Whenever you get too stuck into one form, right, thought form, feeling, whatever it is, this puts you in a state where you can't grow efficiently. You can't keep up with the transits. You can't, you know what I'm saying? So this is putting you in a position to miss out on certain opportunities, you know, even though, you know, people would tell you, you know, it's never too late to do X, Y, and Z, or, you know, follow your dreams, whatever you want to say. But the truth of the matter is time moves, and you got to understand that everything is based on timing. And if you are too in a certain space and it keeps you from actually progressing and moving along, you're not going to be there for the right moment at the right time. You're going to be just a little too late, playing catch up, doing different things. And right now we actually have a very big opportunity right now to actually put ourselves in that position to really put things in motion, but put it in motion by getting things together, making things stabilize. You know, right now you got this grand earth trine going on. Right now the moon has joined the whole gang, so there's more of a focus on it. We're reacting and responding to the Virgo aspect of it, right? And that's next to Mars. So this is going to be us emotionally connected to what we're passionate about. So this could go positive, right? AKA giving you the inspiration, the you know, aligning your passions with your comfort zone. So almost like, and not really, see, right now in particular, we've been going through a certain space where we need to get uncomfortable with the uncomfortability going on, right? And this energy can kind of help with that in a way, right? So this is getting comfortable with the things that we're passionate about and using it as a gift to also use that same comfortability to establish a new comfort zone when it comes to our individuality. Now, we've already been doing that as far as our individuality, you know, having to allow that to kind of lead us towards what we need to experience, regardless if we're nervous about it or not. You know, that Lilith energy, especially as the sun approaches, like the video I was just saying before about the imposter syndrome. I see a little bug. I'm trying to let it out. Motherfuckers be getting stuck in your shit. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to that Lilith energy, as the sun approaches Lilith, we're dealing with, more of an imposter syndrome. And see, the thing is, Lilith is really about to get about Leo, if I'm not mistaken. It's at like 27 degrees, so very soon it's going to be shifting into Virgo, where it's going to be more so about our stability, about our responsibilities. So right now you can kind of get a foresight if you're able to tap into these energies and see that where these things are going. That's why astrology is a great tool. It keeps you from necessarily getting too lost into certain forms of divination, and it allows you to kind of see energies that are approaching without getting too wrapped up in specific outcomes that may or may not come through. Because whenever you get too locked in on a certain way of things playing out, it kind of it can block you from experiencing what you need to experience, and put you in a state where you actually just you playing tricks on yourself, basically mentally, which could be harmful for certain things going on. Like, say somebody told you, oh yeah, this month all Aries, Virgos, and Libras are gonna experience getting $1 million. You know what I'm saying? And you get too fixated on that. You're like, where my $1 million? Where my $1 million? And you miss the opportunity to actually manifest something for you that might have actually been more suited for you. You know what I'm saying? You might not have needed $1 million. You actually needed a job opportunity, or you needed that whatever it was in front of you that you can take as far as the manifestation to materialize something that's personalized for you. That's kind of the So getting back to what I was saying right now, though, you can kind of see what's coming forward. What's coming forward is we got all this energy in Earth. So we got this grand Earth trying to work with, and we got a lot of fire energy. We got a stellium in Leo. So there's things going on pertaining to our forms of expression, right? And then we got Venus finna go retrograde on Saturday. So even that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, got your ass. We got that Venus retrograde putting us in a state where so Venus retrograde is actually interesting. I'm gonna do a separate video on this, but this is really triggering a lot of childhood stuff. When we talk about the childhood and things of that nature, we there's a lot of energy right now, just due to the fact that we like Leo energy, the 5th house. The reason it deals with children is, you got to think, like, as far as the solar plexus, our ego and stuff like that. When you're a child, your raw expression, that pure expression, that right there is really like, that energy in a nutshell. That energy, along with the moon. The moon is also associated with childhood, but this is the more emotional aspects of the childhood. So when you look at the 4th and 5th house, these houses kind of indicate a lot of things that might have gone on when you was in your subconscious purely. As a child, you purely in your subconscious, and it's from ages, it's from those young ages that you develop into more of a, by the time. So if we look at it like the 4th house and the 5th house, when they get to the 10th and the 11th house, that's when you get to Saturn. So you see that, okay, if in that full rotation, right, or not full rotation, but in that rotation to the other side, that's where you get the more mature energy. So your 4th and 5th house eventually becomes your not eventually becomes, but you travel from your 4th and 5th as a child. But then when you it's like, you can look at it like, by the time you actually grown, going through your Saturn return, this is why your Saturn return brings a certain significant life change that starts to make you way more aware of the responsibilities you have, and puts a certain vibration over you that pushes you into adulthood maturity for real. You know what I'm saying? If you're not actually mature, you're going to go through an experience that's going to wake you up and see all the things that you haven't been putting in order since you was able to. You know what I'm saying? And then when you know what I'm saying, if you want to look at this, it's like every 9 years. So 0 through 9, right, of your life, or 1 through 9, however you want to say it, your first 9 years of life, that was you coming into awareness of your basic functions, or your basic reasoning. Again, a lot of it was just your raw expression. But by the age of 9, you start to get a certain awareness of, okay, this is what I like. It's like basic likes and things of that nature. By 9 years old, okay, I like basketball, I don't like soccer. I like the color red, I don't like the color purple. I like, you know what I'm saying? I like these action figures, I don't like these action figures. Or if you're a female, I like these things, I don't like those things. It's like basic things like that, right? Then from 9 to 18, this is you coming into your young adulthood, you know what I'm saying? Or your, what do they say, teenage years, into your, now you're emerging your own personality. Now you're taking that and you're advancing it. Now you have a certain awareness. Like by 18, now you have certain desires that you want to go that are correlated to things that you decided you like. And then from 9 to 18, you also experienced a lot of things that you like and started to see things you didn't like. And that's where 18, you're able to kind of sit back and you're not fully developed mentally, but you're at a place where you have a much more educated guess on what you might be more interested in or not. You know what I'm saying? And by 0 through 9, that's you kind of working with your raw talents, the thing that you do naturally at that age is you need to pay attention to. And then, you know, a lot of times from 9 to 18, people lose that if they get too wrapped up into what everybody around them is trying to get them to do, right? And now when we talk about childhood is really that 0 to 9. You know what I'm saying? When you start to get 10, 11, 12, this is like your teenage years. So this is part of your childhood, but not really. It's more like the intermediate. So if we want to relate this to the cardinal aspect, you know what I'm saying? Your cardinal sign is like that 0 through 9. You know what I'm saying? Where you're just sparking things, you know, things that you might be interested, maybe not. And then from 9 to 18, this is you experiencing those things, putting those things to test. And then from 18, so that's the fixed portion, you getting fully invested. And then from 18 to 27, right? This is you actually going through the transformations of those things, right? Experiencing the result of those things, going through them and coming to your own conclusion as far as what you need to transform for the next cycle. So that's kind of what your by the time that's when you reach your Saturn return, you're in that space where now you have to take what you've accumulated and also what you've experienced, and you have to put it together to make the best form or best version that you can spark something new in. So after your Saturn return, you go into those next 9 years, that's you actually going into that direction you're supposed to go. That's why after during your Saturn return, so your Saturn return will start in like 27, but those first 9 years, but after your Saturn return, right, from 27 to 36, those years are you sparking new ideas from everything you've accumulated from 27 on. You know what I'm saying? So that's like you going into that new space. You know what I'm saying? You really in that new space, and you really at this point you're experiencing and going, or you're sparking new things. That's why, like a lot of times, like I said before, after your Saturn return, you start to change yourself. You choose to change yourself, and you either going to do it in a mature way if you actually prepared, or you know how to handle and withstand your Saturn return, or you regress into a second childhood. And that's where you see a lot of 30-year-olds, again, who may have not gotten a chance to be a child, and it's really like when you don't get a chance to be a child, that energy doesn't go away. You know what I'm saying? You don't mature at the same rate as everybody else. I say you had a child at a very young age. By the time you in your 30s, 36, finally your child, or your early 30s, or whatever, your child is now old enough for you to actually get a chance to live those years you couldn't live due to what you was doing, your circumstance. So this could end up in a certain regression in older people where you start to get 30, you know what I'm saying, those 30-year-olds who are literally just living their second childhood, and they're doing it in an immature way. Or if you actually on your shit, and I don't want to say that, because we all be in different experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, some people's karma is just to deal with having a child at a young age, but it might actually be teaching you something. So it's not even, I don't want to make it seem like certain things that we manifest for ourselves are unworkable or unfavorable, or like I'm looking down on it, or like you should look down on it, or anybody watching this should look down on somebody in their life who going through that. But just to understand, and hopefully you're in a space to show them why it's that way. And if you are a person who's going through this, you can kind of peep your own actions and say, oh, okay, that's actually what's happening, and I don't need to let it control me. I can actually direct this into a more healthy, productive way. But this is just how people might see me, right? Because it'll be that second childhood vibe. So you end up playing a lot of childish energies, just trying to experience what you didn't experience back then. But a more mature way to go about it, again, everybody find their own way, or create their own way. But really what it is like, as long as you got your responsibilities, it's just certain things at that age you need to be aware of. If your situation is in order as far as your responsibilities, okay, you in a better place, you know what I'm saying? But it's entirely, it's really on you, you know what I'm saying? You got to make sure you're putting forth that effort to, stay consistent or not, I'll say stay consistent, but putting forth that effort to just keep yourself aware of what you're participating in, because you could be trying to go to the club or trying to be in certain spaces that, you know, might not be the best. Like, a lot of times, again, you don't want to be in your second childhood based upon a regression type energy. You want to be in your second childhood because of the other way. You actually matured yourself in a space where now you not only are you on top of your responsibilities, but you've made adjustments based upon old ways of going about things, that now you're able to situate your life in a much more mature way. You're much more clear on who you are, where you're going, what you're building for yourself, and you're starting to put those pieces together, as opposed to the other side where, you know, you've been living life, but you haven't really been living. So right now it's like you kind of scrambling to get certain things in order, but you're doing it in a way that looks very reckless or extra childish. Like, you're trying to hit the club, you in there every night, you doing things, you leaving things unhandled, you know what I'm saying? You leaving things, you know, you got your child, but you didn't even set your child up with enough enough common sense or enough energy or enough practicality. You didn't even give them enough gems for them to situate their life in a way that doesn't require the same amount of attention, or I don't want to say effort or attention, because as a parent, you always kind of going to be, you know, you always responsible for your child, but it's like you set them up for success in a certain way to where they don't rely on you. It's not a dependency. They actually finding their own independence, and you gave them enough tools for them to actually do something with their life to where, you know, you can find more balance and freedom. You know what I'm saying? So now in your 30s, it's like now your child is ready for college, or, you know, or just your child has certain things that you can see as far as like, okay, I see me investing in my child has led to them being able to handle certain things. And it's like, you don't have to completely let go, but it's a different back and forth with them. It's not like a child who, again, it hasn't been equipped. You didn't equip them the right way. And so, and even that seems like a lot of pressure, because, you know, a spirit has to come to their own conclusion. But as a parent, you know what I'm saying, you got to do your part in putting them on game enough for them to be able to do a little something in life. And hopefully you actually did help influence them and on some kind of positive shit, so that at this age, and this is the age also, they might even be able to, you know, not necessarily help you, but by them helping themselves, they help you. You know what I'm saying? If y'all get what I'm trying to say. But you know, kind of just speaking on this Leo retrograde, a lot of things are being brought up from your childhood that have poured into things pertaining to your love matters, or things you appreciate and value, you know. And so it's putting everybody in that space where correlating those things to childish things. It's like a lot of this could be a childish period a lot of times for maybe relationships, or you might be playing out childish energies based upon you wanting certain things that deal with Leo energy, attention, you wanting to be seen a certain way, you wanting things your way and not being willing to compromise. So you have to ask yourself certain questions about, you know, how far you're willing to go with this compromise. You know, does this compromise or this relationship I'm involved with lead to me losing my sense of self, or my sense of you know, I want to say the word pride, but that's a loaded word too, because, you know, you can't be too lost in your pride, but there is a certain individuality, and you got to be real about what it is that you care about, and what, in more than care, but like Leo energy, who you are, who you've decided to be, the character you're playing. You got to ask yourself whether or not that character is worth the changes that are needed, either to keep whatever relationship or thing, person, place, or thing in your life, or whether or not it's okay to compromise with who that is for the sake of change. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like that Venus energy in Leo squaring Jupiter and Taurus, because it's almost like learning what to do with expansion. You know, learning how to relate to expansion. So this is either you like relating in a way that you're like, okay, yeah, I need to change, I need to expand. It might be okay to compromise with certain things that are different or slightly different than how I see them, you know. Or this could be you peeping where you know, oh, now I don't need to relate to this form of expansion because this is actually getting me away from myself. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these thought processes are going to be triggered based upon childhood things. You know what I'm saying? Again, and even down to like they say, oh, Venus retrograde, your ex might come back, or all this bullshit, right? I don't say it's bullshit, because some people experience that, and that's a real thing. But, you know, it's a lot deeper than that, because it's more like you might be triggered to jump into an old relationship based upon what the new relationship is requiring you to face. And those things could be things you didn't resolve as a child, aka, you know, childhood scars that dealt with the amount of attention you was getting, or, you know, abandonment issues. It could be a bunch of different things. So you got to be very aware of what your childhood wounds represented for you, and being able to see in your current relationships how and why those things are, you know, because a lot, like, you could trace a lot of your reactions in relationships to things that happened as a child. Because see, in a relationship, the reason that is like, in a relationship, that's the first form of intimacy that can remind you of your earliest memories of intimacy. Because like, before you're interacting with people outside your family, you reacting to your family, you know. And so the things that you care about, like when we think about a relationship and what it consists of, it's really just, you know, think about all the things that you experienced as a child, right? So this is like your mother, your father, right? And even if you grew up in a home with only one parent, or maybe you had, you know, grandparents or foster parents, you still dealt with some form of a feminine energy that should have been playing out as nurturing, and some kind of masculine energy that should have served as an example for you to, it's almost like an example for you to either act or inspire you to act, or motivate you to act. It's almost like a direction given. So what happens is, a lot of people, and we all grow up with a lacking of something, you know what I'm saying? So when you're in your experience, right, let's say you are, you know, you have certain issues with your feminine aspect when you was growing up. So this is like, again, if we look at basically Cancer and Leo, so the feminine aspect would be the Cancer energy, right? So again, things that dealt with nurturing. These are your people with attachment issues, the way you respond to, you know, whether you are more avoidant of certain things, certain conflicts, or whether you're more anxious by certain conflict. You know, all these triggers, like these emotional ties, these are the first things that, again, you experience that as a child, but the next time you experience those things are usually through relationships, and usually romantic ones. Now, friendships, you can go through these things, but it gets deep with a relationship, romantic relationship, because that's the first time you're trying out. Because see, that's all you do as a kid. It's like by the time you got into your first relationship, you don't know nothing about relationships. You just copying what you've seen, either through media or through your parents. So it's not even truly you. Like, that's why them first early relationships be like, you know, like, was that even really a relationship? And it was, because you was just experimenting. But that's the thing, you seeing what your parents did, or you seeing what you seen online or through TV, you know what I'm saying? And that's what you emulated and tried to fit the role. But, you know, again, everybody got to find their own footing in that area. So that'd be your first exercise in Cancer type or fourth house energy, where you're trying to create emotional safety with another person, you know, outside of you, you know what I'm saying? But now the first time you experienced that for real though was in your home during your upgrading in your childhood, because that was the first time someone was giving you Cancer energy. This is why there's like, you know, people be like, oh, you low-key date your parents, you know what I'm saying? Like, a woman to seek their father, or qualities that their father had, because naturally that's the thing that sparks that familiarity. Same thing with men. The men date women that are similar to their mother, you know what I'm saying? And it's only because those qualities that they share, they want something similar, you know what I'm saying? But we also know where that was go too far, where, okay, now you're a grown man trying to get mothered by a woman who ain't your mother, and vice versa. You a grown ass woman and you trying to have another dude be your father that's not your father. You put unnecessary pressures on them, aka all the things that your parents couldn't fulfill for you. You start to subconsciously put on the weight on the shoulders of whoever you're in a relationship with. And a lot of times that's what creates a lot of resentment, a lot of struggle, especially early on in relationships, if both individuals aren't self-aware enough to catch themselves and see where their parents have influenced their attachment styles or influenced their forms of relating with each other, you know what I'm saying? So it gets very deep when we talk about that. But this Venus in retrograde, because it's in Leo, is dealing with a lot of childlike things, childlike experiences, dealing with, again, so it's bringing everybody to somewhat of a childish mode, where you might end up being a little too self-centered, or a little too selfless. You know, so you have to find a balance within your own life to see where, you know, these retrograde are putting you back in those spaces. And so so you can look at the past and decide in the present now whether or not you're being too selfless. You know what I'm saying? You're letting somebody else change you and your individuality. And again, like, there's always going to be compromise, but you need to just ask yourself whether that compromise is the right one for you at that moment in time, because you might not be in a space, or that might not be the right things to change. You know, if these things are truly who you are and they're correlated to things that you're paying attention to, what you enjoy, you know what I'm saying, your light, your shine, you know, things that, you know, that actually do matter. If these things are dimming those things, then you should reevaluate whether or not that's the right relationship for you, because a healthy relationship should allow both of y'all to shine. Y'all should both be able to occupy the stage, and it should feel like a grand performance, not somebody is getting too much of the spotlight, aka somebody is getting to do more of what they like, and they're forcing you to change the character that you chose for yourself to fit their own narrative. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you're dealing with somebody who's too narcissistic, and you probably need to reassess who you with. You know, it should be more like, you know, y'all able to share the stage, y'all able to support each other. And again, there's certain things that you're still going to have to change because they need certain things, and also you deserve to grow. So that's kind of what I was saying before. The things that you're looking to change, you're like, okay, I can see how this is actually helping me. You know, and it takes a lot of maturity, because again, this is things that are going to trigger your old childhood wounds when it comes to those things. But you should be able to have enough self love and self-confidence to know yourself beyond those things you've chosen to cling to based upon your what you think is your identity, or how you want people to see you. You know what I'm saying? This is where, again, you get into a situation where it's like you're choosing to not be too self-centered now. You're choosing to kind of see yourself, to be able to still honor yourself, do what you need to do as an individual, but for the sake of your relationship or whatever you're relating to, you're seeing where there is healthy compromises you can make that can actually improve whatever it is that you're interested in, and make it something that's more, you know, correlated to however you're choosing to relate. You know, it's many different ways that can play out, but I'm trying to just give y'all the basic, you know, framework, so that no matter what scenario you throw in there, you can start to see like, okay, this is actually something. Like, for instance, if you are in a relationship and let's say you are into what you into, but you found somebody who's also into the same things, and now, you know, in order to be with them, though, there's certain things that you realize, okay, I'm self-centered in certain areas, or I usually see myself first in these areas. So when issues come up that trigger you, they trigger you back actually to a space where you can recognize, okay, that was me just being too self-centered. You know what I'm saying? Where you might have been in a space mentally to be like, you know, no matter what, I'm gonna make sure that my dreams is the only thing. No one can get me off my path. No one can get me off of this. No one can get me off of that. But you actually with somebody who, you know, values you and respects you, and you respect them. So what they're asking you to change, or they might not even be asking you to change, you'll come up to your own conclusion on certain things that, again, might have triggered you before. Like, for instance, y'all might be going through something, or I don't know how to actually explain this, but it's almost like you'll be experiencing something that needs you to compromise your selfish or self-centered views. You know what I'm saying? Where an area of life that you might have more pride in, or you might allow to dictate your ego, you can actually be in a space where you don't let that be so attached to your ego that it blinds you from what is actually being required of you. For instance, your partner could be asking you for more time, and you could start to take the self-centered route and look at that as an attack on the things that you're passionate about or that you care about. Oh, no, I want to do this, and this person's trying to take me for my time. But again, the positive seeds of this would be you being able to see the situation for what it is and realize, okay, my first reaction to this might have been just triggered from the past and childhood situation where I didn't get a chance to do what I love, or I felt like nobody really supported me in my own journey. This person's not asking me to give up what I love. They're asking me for more time, and actually I might be able to incorporate her or whoever, you know what I'm saying, her or him, into what I'm doing and paying attention to. But at the same time, like, you know, for the sake of compromise, right, I can find, you know, it's almost like being able to just see where you can kind of, like, I don't want to say put yourself second, because it's like, but just being able to see things beyond a self-centered view. So instead of just jumping to that conclusion, you able to kind of see in the past, you know what, and now you reflecting, you like, yeah, you know what, in the past I have been too invested into how I see things, and maybe this person who's seeing something different, because I'm relating to them, maybe there's something that, you know, maybe there's a reason why I'm triggered, and maybe I need to address that and actually listen to what they're saying. And then you might find that whatever they saying could actually enhance both of y'all lives. Like, it's almost like, oh, like, you know, by spending more time with them, I'm actually able to have more energy or inspiration for whatever goal I have, for whatever I'm focused on, or for whatever I'm giving attention to. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody gonna be wanting attention, but it's like a certain way you gotta go about it, where it's like, again, avoiding the self-centeredness from both of y'all, you know what I'm saying? Because again, you might even be dealing with somebody who's self-centered, and you starting to realize, like, this person trying to take me off my path. And that, you know, that's got to be a decision you made, to where you can actually take a stand and be like, you know what, nah, I've been compromising too much. You've been taking my time all this time. What is it that you are trying to do? Are you trying to sabotage me? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's different ways it can play out, because that might be the positive side on a negative situation. You know, it's like a positive side and a negative side for a positive situation, and a positive side and a negative side for a negative situation, if you get what I'm trying to say. Because I know it's a lot and it might be a little confusing, but, you know, everything is like, you know, it all depends on you and what you're going through specifically. Because again, you might be in that situation where you're starting to actually come into your own sense of self, and you're like, you know what, I can't compromise on that. And that's you taking a stand, and you actually put another person in a place where they now can respect who you are, because you're choosing to stand up for yourself finally and set those boundaries and be like, look, I'm not going to give up my focus for the sake of whatever it is that you're trying to get me off track with, you know. And that's like you taking that self, you know, yeah, kind of doing it in a self-centered way, but it's still healthy, because it might be the actual energy you need to reestablish control over a situation. Or I don't say control, but yeah, it depends, you know what I'm saying? Because it's retrograde, so it's making you see yourself taking past things, because from the past it'll give you a good reference to know whether or not, okay, in the past I was giving up too much of myself, or vice versa. In the past, I have been too self-centered, too into self, to the point where I wasn't able to see what I had right in front of me that should have been what I should have been valuing, type shit. So it just depends on what you are. But again, that wasn't even this ain't supposed to be the Venus in retrograde video, but that'll give you a hint. And what I'm saying that is, you know, this energy right now that we're going, this phase that we're going through, this shift that we're going through, is really forcing everybody to ask what they truly value, you know what I'm saying? And how does that correlate with who you are, you know, your true self? This Cancer season is like, you know, I mean, going into Leo season, it's all about your shine, not nobody else's, right? Of course, we have to create balance there, because you don't want to be too self-centered. And with all these energies in Leo, you could be very just into yourself, to the point where you can get lost there, you can get blinded there, you know, too much light, you can't see anything. So, you know, you're gonna have to be able, but everything going on in your Leo house, you need to be able to get involved in and address those things. But a lot of those things, like I said, are gonna start to come from childhood wounds, you know what I'm saying, where you're expressing yourself based upon those childhood things that you still attached to. So that's where you're going to have to kind of just check yourself, because a lot of these decisions you're making now, if you're too impulsive, a lot of these things could just be based upon your childhood traumas that you didn't quite address yet, that you didn't quite solve yet, those issues. So you want to make sure you're attending to those things. And see, Cancer season should have laid out the platform for you to address a lot of insecurities and heal those things, you know, even along with the trine with Saturn and Neptune. Should have been a lot of childhood things you was able to go into, do shadow work and address, you know. And then Mars in Virgo is also making you work double time to clean up a lot of things that's going on beneath the surface. You know, a lot of things that's dealing with the way you're thinking need to be adjusted and changed. And see, that grand Earth trine, this gets me back to what I was saying, where we're headed to, or just the current shift that we're going through and where it's leading. It's like right now we are cleaning up a lot of our so from a material sense, you know, what we've been involving ourselves in. Right now, this grand Earth trine is giving you a clear indication on the reality of your situation. This is really what's been going on. and you need to start to take action on how you can start to address these things so that they can work a lot smoother, work more in your favor. You know what I'm saying? So right now you'll be able to kind of be more privy on things that's been wasting your time, taking you away from productivity, taking you away from actually constructing your life in the way you've been wanting to. You know what I'm saying? So Mars and Virgo is putting you in that space where when it comes to your passions, taking all these different things and forcing you to try to make sense out of these things. But see, you might still forget, because that Mars energy is up against some powerful energies as far as Saturn and Neptune, which can create this delusional, it's either, again, bringing past delusions for you to peep what was an illusion and what wasn't. But if you're still lying to yourself, those illusions can take over and still force you to think that, you know, you can hold on to old ways of doing things when you really can't. And see, now that the sun is in Leo, or finna be in Leo, you're not going to have the gift to be able to initiate new feelings on that. Actually, is going to be an in conjunction. So whatever fixed feeling that you establish about those old illusions and ways you was gaining structures, now these things can start to become a hindrance to you, because you can start to want to lock in and over fantasize about how things used to be, and now you lost in nostalgia because you aren't actually addressing your childhood wounds, and you're not choosing to kind of do better for yourself based upon old stuff. You're just trying to cling to the old stuff, hoping and wishing that it'll give you the result of something new in this new world, and it's not. You know, again, this is somebody who's too afraid of their new life. You know, this whole year has been new life, so you have to treat it as such. You have to actually invest your energy into changing your life. And see, that's the thing about this grand earth trine, because it's trining that Uranus energy. Uranus is still working double time to get us to change. You know what I'm saying? And it's right now, see, Mars is being one of the only planets that's actually direct. That's what we have to use to cling to in order to know what kind of direction we should go based upon our passions and what we're making sense out of to work for us more efficiently. So we have to use that kind of as a good little clear indication of, okay, like, at least my passions is leading me forward. But when it comes to Venus, soon to be Mercury, you know, Mercury's in Leo too. So soon Mercury and things of that nature, these different things. And Mercury is kind of having a tough time just because it's surrounded by all those energies, right? It's in Leo along with Lilith and Venus and soon the sun. So the Mercury is kind of like in a position where you might be overthinking about how you go about expressing or what actions to take on what you're trying to change. And see, don't let that stagnate you either. You know, Lilith, oh shit, bro, I thought that was a bird. That bird was getting close. But like when it comes to you know what I'm saying, when it comes to I thought I was gonna have to punch it. Like I was like, I seen it, I was like, I'm about to hit this shit. But I was like, who the fuck? But no. When it comes to I was gonna say Mercury, you know, or Leo energy, is like we might overthink how we even coming across, overthink how we see ourselves. And Lilith right there could just be playing tricks on you to make you more indecisive, you know. And again, you got to look at this as like you've been practicing for this performance all up until this point. Hopefully you have. If you haven't, but even if you haven't, it doesn't matter. It's still time to shine. So if you're not willing to get on that stage and rock it like you're supposed to, you're gonna miss out on some good energy, because people are gonna be paying attention. Like I said, all this earth energy is setting you up. You know what I'm saying? Setting you up for the earth season when we get into Virgo. Even though, you know, it's 30 plus days away, still, you know, everything be correlated. You know what I'm saying? So how you show up during Leo season, that's all that matters, is that did you show up? Did you show out? You know, and then soon is going to be a new moon in Leo. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, a new way to go about expressing yourself, or a new center stage. People going to have a whole new persona and character to play. You know what I'm saying? But right now, we knew that it was a new moon in Cancer. So really, this is just getting us prepared for that new moon in Leo. Now the full moon gonna be in Aquarius, so understanding that's where we headed first. It's gonna hit Aquarius first, and this is being satisfied with your associations, being satisfied with your way of associating, and that's gonna be determined on how you approach this energy. With this grand earth trine, did you establish enough of a firm grip over not only your status but the things you're working on, so that you can trust yourself to be consistent. And by being consistent, right, it's reflected through where the sun is at. The sun, now people see you shining, but you're good. It's almost like you have a good balance. Now you can pop out with the expression, but people can tell, okay, your expressions and whatever you put on as a show is methodical. People can see the earth behind it. People can say, okay, I see your passions though, they're organized. I see you consistently working at that shit. Okay, I can see Jupiter. I see that you actually knowledgeable and that you're experiencing whatever it is that you're establishing for yourself. This looks like something that has value. You know what I'm saying? Now people are more willing to want to invest in whatever you got going on. Uranus, now you look like an individual. That right there is potent right now. You know, everybody needs to be doing something new, unique and original, you know, and not just for the sake of being original, but for the sake of being an individual. You know what I'm saying? This is how I do it. This is what I do. Boom, boom, boom. And then again, Pluto is like, I see you taking the power and control over whatever it is that you got working for your life. You taking power and control over what you are trying to do with yourself, because it's in Capricorn. So the status that you have, it's like, it's no wonder people see you like that, because I see that how that status can line up with your actions, and people can see it now on stage. And that's what Leo is going to bring. Leo is bringing that spotlight. So that's why I said, whether you're ready or not, that spotlight is coming. So you got to figure out how you want to rock it. You know what I'm saying? Regardless. And right now you should be already feeling that, because it's cuspy now. So it's like anything that you've been insecure with and that you still haven't addressed, those things are going to be way more on fire now. This is the time where a lot of people end up going into hermit mode, you know what I'm saying, really trying to hide from that light. And it's just like, you can't, because your absence is going to speak for you. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, if you aren't showing up to those things that you was hyping people about in the springtime, and you was talking all this shit about when you was comfortable, now it's time to pop out. If you're not really doing those things, that's going to be the first thing people see. Oh, this person's absent. And guess what? You're going to find your position, or whatever status it is that you was trying to have for yourself, you're going to find that taken by somebody else who just showed up, whether they better than you or not. And chances is, like, really, you shouldn't even be looking like anybody better than you, or that you need to be better than anybody. All you got to be is yourself. So you might be in a space where you still trying to search for something to cling to represent, or give you the confidence that you need to be creating within yourself. You feel me? And then now the moon in Virgo is going to make you stress about that. And being that the sun is still in Cancer, this is the slight opportunity you have to put in that extra amount of work and effort to get you to that status, or to get you to that form of comfortability when it comes to what you about to present to the world. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you got to prepare yourself. And then this is going to help you when the moon slides into Libra, because now the sun will be in Leo, the moon be in Libra, and that's an opportunity for you to now relate on your best foot forward type vibe. Now you have the opportunity to take those expressions and how you see things and make them relatable. But if you haven't been taking the time to kind of polish certain things, work on certain insecurities, that relating is going to look a little off. It's not going to look as genuine as it should. It's not going to look pure. It's not going to look like fun and something people want to be involved with. Instead, it's going to look self-centered. It's going to look like, okay, you just trying to use people. You just trying to manipulate people to have the show go your way. And it's not fair, and it's not balanced for everybody involved on that stage. And that's going to carry over to that full moon, because now you got to think, man. You got to think, because that moon in the air, by the time the moon goes into the next air sign, if you didn't do that first moon in air correctly, it's gonna show in that next moon in air. If you don't understand, like, those different modalities, if you didn't initiate relationships, you're not gonna have a steady association when the next moon in air comes. Same thing for every other element, but I'm hyping this one up because, you know, it's the most prevalent. But even the moon being in Virgo now, when it gets into the next earth sign, Capricorn, if you didn't put in the work, you're not gonna have anything to be the boss of. You're not gonna have nothing as far as forms of practicality or a blueprint to go off of. You don't have enough results. You didn't do enough work in Virgo season. Now, again, putting things in context, these are things that happen, and again, the irony is that happens before the full moon. So that's a clear indication of how these things are linked. So when you're looking at, like, the waxing period, look at each moon, and we all, before the wax, completes, we go through 2 of every sign. Like, so we started with a new moon in Cancer. So the next water that we experience is Scorpio, and that's coming up after Libra. So that gives you an indicator of, okay, that is the energy I'm going to be experiencing next. So from this water energy, I need to do this right so that the next water moon could be good. Next one was what? Leo. Okay, this fire, and then the next fire is Sagittarius. So I need to do this fire right so that the next fire could be smooth. Air, you know what I'm saying? Or no, Earth, Virgo. You know what I'm saying? I need to make sure Virgo good, so Capricorn good, and so on and so forth. And that's some other deep shit that you probably ain't even peep. But everything links up to each other. So it's like you wonder why certain days you be off. It's like, again, sometimes we all got our different days. Some days you just ain't your day. So you miss out on that. But the next cycle come around, it's like even on those days you try your best so that you can be equipped for the next one. And then that and I'm talking element wise, but the next moon in general too, you know what I'm saying? But all that shit aside, you know what I'm saying, because I don't know how much storage I got left. So for the most part, going in on this energy is like you want to make sure you polishing stuff. You want to take that moon energy to start to connect emotionally, get more emotionally connected to your individuality, to what you're expanding on as far as your stability, security, and how you gain stability, security, and safety. You know what I'm saying? But how you gain those things, what you can use, your more comfortability with your passions and what you're expressing, but not letting that go too far to where you start to demonize anybody who looks different than your passions. It's like you might start to want to go against certain people that is showing you signs of them not quite understanding your passions or not being a part of them. And that's not always the best thing to do, because you might act in a certain way or react in a certain way and explode and put yourself in a compromising position where you're looking for those friends to connect to. You made a situation that wasn't that serious more than what it was, and you expressed yourself in a way that hurt your status, that made people look at you and be like, yeah, I don't want to be involved in whatever you got going on. And sometimes you just got to have that self-awareness to make sure you putting yourself in check, like I said before. And again, the moon, you want to emotionally connect with the transformations you need to make, in order for things to go more smooth in your life. And all these things, we got all this earth and we got fire. So this is about expression, but doing it in a way that is actually helping you establish something more stable behind whatever it is that you're putting on as a show. So like I was saying before, a lot of that energy before, dang, get out of here, man, little tiny bug. A lot of that thing that you've been, that, like I was saying before, that energy that we were experiencing with the energy in Leo and Taurus, you know what I'm saying, that square, the substance behind whatever it is that you was putting on that stage. Now that shit even matters even more, where depending on your expression and the way you align these things, you can actually establish yourself very well at this time, just because there's a balance of earth and fire making something be seen, but then the earth there to materialize it. So it's like whatever you're putting on the stage, look at it as if you wanted to here to stay. Don't put nothing on that stage you don't want to stick, because that's the thing. You could show yourself and express yourself in a certain way, and that's going to stick with you as a reputation for a long time. Same thing if you don't show up, you know what I'm saying? People are going to remember that. And like I said, when it comes around, all these energies start to go direct. People are going to remember you didn't show up when you needed to. So you're going to have to do a lot more during that time to prove your worth, to prove your status, as opposed to those people right now who are being brave and courageous and choosing to just express themselves regardless of what Lilith's talking about. And now it's a situation where, okay, you can actually get something going for you. You know what I'm saying? You can actually have some energy to pull from, because people see you and will remember, oh yeah, that's the person that was on that podium that one day and they was expressing their creativity. They was getting their thoughts out. They was shining that day. I remember, you know what I'm saying? And, that's kind of the result of the positive result of if you actually choose to show up, regardless of how you feel. And again, all that Cancer energy should have gave you the right backing, emotional backing, to give you the courage and confidence to be like, okay, this is who I am. You know what I'm saying? This is who I am. I'm showing up as me. You know what I'm saying? And then Virgo season will be taking that and cleaning it up. You know what I'm saying? Along with all those retrogrades. So that's going to help too. You know what I'm saying? That's going to help make sense out of everything you put out. But right now you got to like really double down or lean into whoever it is that you are, your true self. Moon opposing Saturn and Neptune. So feeling uncomfortable with how I knew it was gonna cut, but feeling a little uncomfortable about old ways we used to go about structuring our life, making sense out of reality, and our imaginations and things of that nature, our old delusions. This is actually a positive energy if you use it for the right reasons, because it'll get you to snap out of old patterns, come into old ways of how you've been doing things, and it might help you start to react to or feel like you need to come up with a more realistic plan for whatever it is that you're trying to build in your life. So that opposition can actually help out or work in your favor, and it can make you passionate about it too. So you know what I'm saying? But also keep in mind just that Virgo energy, don't let the stress lead you down destruction. Don't make things too hard on yourself. Instead, use that Virgo energy to kind of get to the bottom of things that you just been doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? And doing wrong, it just, things need adjustment, things need fixing, things need constructive criticism. So criticize yourself within reason. Don't go too far. Oh, everything is my fault. Look at it more like, this is just where I've been misunderstanding things. This is where I just need to get things working for myself. The moon is also, so that's Pisces, Aries, moon in conjuncting Chiron. So misunderstanding mistakes when it comes to how you've been practicalizing. So you might still be misunderstanding where went wrong, but hopefully you've been able to, the other planets trining Aries can help you kind of find that fine line between, oh, that was actually what I was making a mistake about. And Taurus, the moon, so trying in the gift that I already said, that emotionally connect to your uniqueness, individuality, as well as your also in conjuncting your North Node. So right now with the node shift, it's already an overall shifting that we have to make in terms of things that we already knew we need to change, you know what I'm saying, but still misunderstanding those things. We already making the shift. We have to do things in a more, when it comes to our spiritual path, do things more correlated to who we are. You know what I'm saying? So this is where you kind of get into that kind of back and forth right now where, okay, who am I? Again, and you should already know, but this is like your higher self version that you've always been, and us needing to act those things out, kind of like I was saying when Jupiter was in Aries, your individual journey, you know what I'm saying, your personalized character, getting more tapped into that. And so we're taking control more so over that, but you might misunderstand that. You might still be trying to figure out how to make that work though. How do I make my spiritual path work for me? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm dealing with this reality shit, and it's not, I can't see where it's balanced. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going through reality, and reality is showing you certain things that's like, you need to pay these bills, you need to do these things with the material, you need to figure out how to manifest or materialize. But your spiritual path is something different. So for a while, our spiritual path was about how we can accumulate things, all that Taurus energy. Now it's in Aries, where low key you should be in a better place financially, but a lot of us aren't. So you might be in a situation where still you don't have the resources, but somehow, some way you have to make this work for you. So that could be the struggle right now. And then, like I was saying though, with Taurus, the gift of the individuality aspect, and then also the gift to emotionally connect to your experiences and what you need to expand on. So this is a willingness to learn more. So use that thirst for knowledge to be like, okay, let me actually use that so I can build better bodies for myself mentally, to keep on going with what I'm going in a more efficient way. Expanding on productivity, is expanding on efficiency. And then when we go into Gemini, nothing in there. Cancer, yeah, the sun a little bit. Again, a slight opportunity, as far as with our comfort zone and how we can act on things. We can act on working on that comfort zone, that new comfort space that we're supposed to get in, that new that uncomfortability we're going in, that we're trying to initiate comfortability in. That's where we can do the opportunity. That's where the opportunity is. So it's not about reverting back to what's comfortable and hiding behind those things and letting anxiety and stress put you into, let me just take a nap. No, this is the other end of that, where you're like, no, let me actually get my life in order, choose to work on my new comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? Working on a new comfort zone. But then, or working on my personal issues, my domestic issues, my private issues, working on home life. But then there was this Cancer, and then, okay, Moon and all that energy in Leo, it's slightly not really affected. You know what I'm saying? It's right next to each other, but that's the other side of things. So when it comes to, we're feeling the other side of our, when it comes to what we've been putting on center stage. So this is actually an energy where you starting to kind of think a little bit more, or feel a little bit more about the next step. Don't go against those feelings though. You know, a lot of times we convince ourselves to keep going back, but you gonna start to see another side of everything that you've been paying attention to. So, you know, react and respond to that in a positive way or a productive way. Choose to work on those things, not run away from them. You know what I'm saying? AKA clinging on the other side of Leo, which is the Cancer energy. We leave in that energy. So don't cling to a comfort zone. Lean into what's making you uncomfortable and choose to address those things. And then nothing in Libra, nothing in Scorpio, or the South Node in Libra, but that's just the other side of where the moon is at. So, you know, but that's, again, South Node in Libra, we know that our relationships matter now. And that's why we're going through this energy right now, to get ourselves right, because a lot of those things that's happening with Venus in retrograde is going to help our relationships later on. So you want to make sure you address those things. Everything is dealing with childhood stuff. All those things coming up from the past, we need to be able to come and address those things in a healthy manner. You know what I'm saying? Again, not just going off of what we see on first. That's why it's like right now, don't be too impulsive. You know what I'm saying? Actually take time to assess what's going on, what's actually triggering you, what's actually bothering you, what's this person actually saying. You know what I'm saying? Because it's 9 times out of 10 not what you think, or not what you feel, I should say. It's not what you feel or think, because Mercury in there too. So Mercury in the mix. It's not what your thoughts and feelings is in a space to be irrational. Everything else, though, is telling you the more wise ways to transform yourself to make a little more sense out of the different things that you're feeling. So we need to be a lot more responsible and mature around this time. This is a maturing time. Venus in retrograde is maturing you through that Leo energy, so that when it goes direct, all of that Leo energy can be more positive. It could be more constructive, more dealing with creativity and moving forward in your life. You know what I'm saying? More associated with connecting to things that make you feel safe, and that heal your inner child type shit. And then when we talk about, so that's Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, nothing there. Then we got Capricorn, Pluto. Yeah, the gift to emotionally connect to your transformations and knowing what you need to transform and taking power and control. So this is where you can kind of find a little extra courage to keep, to keep on going forward with what you need to do. And then Aquarius, nothing in there. And then we have Pisces energy, the opposite. So we already kind of talked about that, bringing balance when it comes to our reality and old dreams. So again, finding where we can establish a new way to go about those things. And like I said, use the opposition to bring balance. Start to see where, okay, yeah, that was an old illusion. That really didn't make sense. Oh, that was an old way of gaining structure. That couldn't have ever worked. But not making it so emotional to where now you were sad about it. Now you can actually do something about it. Start to change. Start to make shit work. So, yeah, if you're looking to get a personal astrology consultation, hit me up. Go to DaveBeyond.com. Go to the shop section, scroll all the way down, and you'll see where you can order anything you're looking for as far as an astrology service. Don't hesitate to reach out to me at dave795ab@gmail.com for any questions. Say you want me to go over a topic or something like that, or you got another question about a certain service, or if you need other services like videography or photography, just let me know. You know what I'm saying? We can chop it up and do all that good stuff. Otherwise, man, still working on things, just getting everything right. This is that time, you know what I'm saying? So getting prepared for Leo season. Shout out to all the Leo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, and much love. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.